The only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Christian Lavolsi, welcome to the hot seat. It is Wednesday. We're off the back of a long weekend. We're almost at school holidays, and you're about to head off to Europe in the next few days as well. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on before Europe, and now it looks like I'm sick, so I'm not entirely happy, but we'll work through it. And then Ecamm decided it wasn't going to stream; it's only streaming to YouTube, but that's okay. We'll everyone, our fellow loyal listeners on LinkedIn will have to wait for the replay.
Yes, we'll share it out to all of the other platforms. Okay, I know you're not well today, so let's get into this and let's get this going. I wanted to focus today's hot seat on the challenges around attracting the right clients or customers to use your product and service. And one of the words or the terms that we used that I had no idea about when I first started my business was a lead magnet. I'd never heard of it, had no idea what it was. And I was wanting to start that as our first question today, Christian, is what is a lead magnet? What is that in business?
Well, Simone, a lead magnet is essentially a magnet for leads. Look, it's actually that straightforward, and it's really quite powerful. So think of what magnets do. They can attract and repel, right? Well, obviously, what we're trying to do is attract. So imagine it as a compelling lure, a free item or a service that you offer to prospective clients in exchange for, let's say, their contact information, right? It's really that first date with your audience, where you're offering them some sort of value, okay? And that could be traditionally it's ebooks, it's a webinar, it's a free consultation, even a discount code, right? It can be very effective lead magnets. And the whole idea is that you're asking for something, right? Their personal information, without asking for the sale right away. So what you're really trading here isn't just an email address; it's actually that open door to a conversation. By giving something genuinely useful. The whole idea is that you're building trust, you're establishing your expertise, and essentially what you're doing is you're laying the foundation for a relationship that could lead to a loyal customer. So the key to any kind of magnetic lead magnet, if I can, go to the point, isn't just in what you're offering, but it's in how well it resonates with your customers and solves a specific problem for your target audience.
Okay, so this is almost like a try before you buy or have a taster to what I do, who I am, that kind of thing, an introduction.
Look, it's all about getting attention. Like, so you've got to look at it from an attention perspective. So if you look at the traditional attention, interest, desire, the AIDA, right? Action, last step. If you look at the attention as the lead magnet, think of what does your ideal customer need, right? More importantly, what do they want? Because as specialists, we all know what our customers need.
Yeah.
People come to me and I pretty much can work out in the first half an hour what they need. And yet they want, most of the time, the complete opposite. They don't realize that, if they want freedom, then you can't sit Let's say that you're running a bricks and mortar business, um, and you're selling games, right? Computer games.
Hmm.
But all you want to do is sit your ass down, drink Coke Zero, eat French fries, and play computer games in your lounge room. Doesn't matter that you are the world's best computer gamer.
Mm.
If your shop is unattended and you can't communicate to those people, and you might be a specialist in one game, but the whole market doesn't want to play your game as well. So, you know, lots of people are really great at what they do. They just suck at running businesses, and so that's where you've got to get the attention right. And look, we all make these mistakes, Simone.
Mm.
We're always testing and experimenting, sometimes at a very expensive rate, but it's our job. We experiment, so then our customers don't have to make the same mistakes. Um, and uh, and yeah, so a lot of people that are out there who are looking for business advice, they go and get the wrong advice
Mm.
because they're listening to people who their lead magnets are all about, I know your problem, right? And we don't prescribe to that strategy. I think that I don't want to suck the wrong people in. I mean, what do we do, Simone? We actually hand pick from our leads, who we want to work with, and
Yeah.
and why? Because I'm a really selfish son of a bitch. Um, I don't have a lot of time, and I want to give that time to the people that are winners. I don't want to give it to
Yeah.
losers, right? Like so, I was just writing some copy for us for our lead magnet and for our squeeze page. Actually, look at me using all the fancy words. Just another fancy word for a website page in one of
Yeah.
your funnels. Um, but all this shit doesn't have to be complicated. Like it literally is a series of written notes that then go from one page to the next. Just guys like Bronson have made it really cool and made it sound really great because he knows that that's what everyone wants and what everyone needs.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you have to be you have to really speak to the hearts and minds of the people you want to attract. But people are also people, and people are very hard to read, very hard to understand. So sometimes it's hit and miss, and you've got to work at it until you get it right. And I don't think anyone has. I think not. I think it's very rare for people to say they've got the magic bullet, right? Because I don't think
Hmm.
the magic bullet exists. I think that you've got a lot of magic steps, and you can have magic systems and processes, and if you can triangulate those and people do the work, then you're going to get outstanding results. Right?
Yeah.
Whether you've got a lead magnet or not, right? But a lead
Mm.
magnet
Yeah.
helps you attract because that's what a magnet does.
Hmm.
If you're repulsing people, then I suggest you change your tact because you won't be in business very long.
Yeah. Okay. So that leads really nicely into my next question of who actually needs to use a lead magnet? Does every business, do they need this?
Look, Simone, I built my first 20 businesses without a lead magnet. Right?
Hmm.
I'm pretty old. We didn't really have many platforms. But
Mm.
if I look back, so for example, when I started my first business, there was no such thing as social media.
Yeah.
I mean, there was ICQ, there was chat channels, there was,
What was your first business?
it was a catering company,
Okay.
as in my own first business before,
Yeah.
when I first bought my own business. So it was a function center, and we took that from $280,000 almost bankrupt business to 4.2 million in less than 2.5 years, fully booked out for 5 years.
Wow.
It won Wedding Caterer of the Year, Employer of the Year in South Australia. It took out so many awards. It was insatiable at some point. It was just nuts. But it was focus and it was attention. But when I look back and go, well, we didn't have any lead magnets. We did advertise in a lot of publications that technically can be perceived as lead magnets. So,
Hmm.
but we relied a lot on yellow pages. Let your fingers do the walking. You know, essentially what we now call SEO. And so many
Yeah.
people don't realize, they go, oh my God, SEO is like thousands of dollars a month. Say, mate, I used to pay $30,000 for an ad in the Yellow Pages. And if I wasn't in it, guess what happened? No
No
one
one
rang
called.
you. Right? We used to do a lot of radio advertising, which, by the way, I've been thinking about lately. I'm thinking we might put what we do now on radio.
Mm.
I was just listening to the radio by chance instead of an ebook, and I was like, "Oh my god, all these ads suck. Let's go put an ad." And I thought, well, why not? Let's see what the
I actually
ROI on
listen
that
to
is.
the radio quite often. I don't know if they have it. I don't know if this is national or just here in New South Wales, but we listen to a station called Smooth FM, which is probably I would say that I'm too young for that channel, but it's a good family listening quiet channel. So it'd be interesting to see how many people still do tune into the radio. We
Look,
just ask Alexa to
it's
play the
funny.
radio.
People say that TV's dead. We own a marketing agency that specializes in digital, but I work with a lot of our clients on their marketing strategies, and we run TV and radio, and
Mm.
TV still dominates. Like you want a killer ROI, you go TV, but you need a killer budget.
Yeah,
That's and so this is what
a
social
big
media has done.
expense.
But social media has made you spread your money out so widely, and we've got to be honest. Facebook and Google aren't very transparent about their algorithms, so
Mm.
we're relying on hope that they're actually telling us that what they're doing, because there's no laws to protect us as
Yeah.
advertisers, and I think people don't realize that. So even though the tools are amazing, there is very little transparency, um,
Mm.
and it would be great if those companies paid tax in Australia too. And I'm a big believer in that. Like if we're going to be taxed as companies, then they should not avoid paying taxes in this country as well.
Mm.
That's our money getting spent on those platforms, and it should be, there should be something that contributes back to how the ecosystem is funded. But anyway, we're not going to get into my political views on these matters. Um, but
Yeah.
but I always find it really useful if anyone's thinking of working with us, if they can understand my political opinions, then it either allows those people to deselect out before making an inquiry, or they feel we're empowered to join a group of
Yeah.
people that love to stand up for people's rights and a bigger market. But look, back to your question of who needs to use a lead magnet. Virtually anyone looking to grow a business,
Yeah.
or expand their audience can benefit from using a lead magnet, Simone.
Mm.
This includes
Uh,
entrepreneurs, small business owners, marketers, coaches, consultants, service providers, e-commerce sites, essentially anyone who seeks to build a list of prospects to nurture and develop, their prospects into loyal customers. For small businesses and individual entrepreneurs, a lead magnet can be a game changer. Um,
mm.
it's a way to stand out in a crowded market. It offers
Yeah.
that
And
immediate value.
that's one of the things I really enjoyed when I was your client and you were helping me in my fitness business. The whole notion of going old school, like everything is all about putting ads on social media or boosting posts and getting people that way. But I think just that old fashioned handing out a flyer and offering a discount or a free trial, or if you think back to the Domino's days, how many hours they invested in having people out the front, like wobbling a sign, right? Come in and get Cheap Tuesday or all those sorts of things. Like that
Yep.
is all a lead magnet, right?
Yeah, good old Monahan. He had it all down packed. The number one brand promise in the world. Order your pizza and have it delivered in 30 minutes or it's free. That hook worked very well back then.
Mm.
But yeah, look, for coaches and consultants, lead magnets can actually demonstrate your unique approach or philosophy as well. So
Mm.
attracting clients who resonate with your methods. Obviously, that's our area, so we understand that. And surprisingly, now we're starting to coach a lot of coaches and consultants. It's like all of a sudden all these people have worked out, hey, you know what you're doing, so why don't I come and learn that from you? And it's like, yeah, but I don't teach a lot of marketing stuff. I teach more how to actually make more money, which marketing is part of it. But it's really interesting. And these guys are getting huge success because they're not coming to us to learn how to, hey, teach me how to do ads. Like every other donkey is teaching people how to do ads. And I mean that. There's a lot of donkeys out there, some really good people.
Yeah.
in very specific niches, guys that I call friends that I really admire. But then there's a lot of donkeys, and these
Mm.
people are just using someone else's framework and disguising it, and you're getting sucked in by a lead magnet, right? So, and that's great. It means the process is working. So, we don't do a lot in e-commerce, but e-commerce sites can use lead magnets um, as incentives to first-time
Mhm.
purchasers, or even to gather data. Well, I'm really unwell at the moment. So for
Mhm.
personalized marketing, I mean, when I yawn, that's not a good sign. By the way, Simone, it's not you boring me. I'm the one doing the talking. So hopefully I'm not boring our listeners. I believe in showing up, right? So it
Mm.
doesn't matter how unwell I am. I believe in showing up. So, um, you know, even large corporations, Simone, they use them as part of their digital marketing strategy,
Mm.
mainly to segment and target their marketing efforts more effectively. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the digital age, where building your personal connections and nurturing leads over time is key, right? It really is key to conversations. Okay.
Mhm.
A lead magnet is actually that essential tool in your Arsenal, not the football team Arsenal, who drew with Manchester United on the weekend. Thank you. I'm a mad Liverpool supporter, so that was great. That was great hope for us. It's not just about gathering email addresses, okay, and that's really important. It's about starting those meaningful conversations and building a community around your brand. Okay, so I'm getting a bit sick and tired with everybody going, "I need more leads." It's like, mate, if you just nurtured the leads you got, you'd actually make more sales. Think long term. I was talking to another client this morning about they're going to Rome after we get back from Europe, and they're really excited. They've never been to Rome. I grew up in Rome, as a child, and Rome is one of those cities that never ceases to be unforgettable because you stand next to the Colosseum and you're just like mind blown that was built thousands of years ago and it still
Mm.
stands in part. The Italians aren't very good at keeping their structures in one piece, but everywhere you walk around Rome, there's a Roman Empire that was underneath it, which, by the
Mm.
way, is another thing that fascinates me. It's like, how is it that people built on top of things?
Mm.
I don't actually understand that concept. Was there like this huge sandstorm that came and just filled it, and then no one realized that shit was underneath? Or let's just go, oh no, let's just build on top of these buildings. That is something I've never quite understood. Someone smarter than me has to explain that one day. I did ask my history teacher once, and they actually wrote on the whiteboard, "Shut up, Lavolsi." I thought they would think. I think they thought I was being a smartass, but I actually wasn't. The concept of physics hadn't quite you know registered with me yet. But look, Simone, I think that
Mm.
in a nutshell
Okay.
is where we're at.
Okay, so I have one more question before I can wrap this up and let you go back onto your day. Um, should you still be offering a lead magnet to your audience if you're someone who's just flat out at the moment? If you're really busy, you get a lot of you're getting traction from other ways. Is a lead magnet something you should be putting out there and focusing on?
Well, if your question is why is it important to offer a lead magnet, then that's one way of answering it. If it's should people put out a lead magnet, yes.
Mm.
I think the reality of it is for all the reasons that I've already listed. Like you're trying to build a relationship with someone, give them something of value, and then pull them back in. I mean, offering value through any kind of lead magnet is crucial because what it does is it establishes a fundamental relationship between you and a prospect. Right?
Mm.
And then it's up to you to build the trust and the generosity and the credibility through what you do next, right? But let's break that down a little bit. We've got a lot of people watching, which is amazing. So thank you
Yeah.
for being there. But we can't communicate with you. The thing's not working. But look, first impressions, right? So in a world where every click brings a barrage of sales pitches, a lead magnet is your chance to say, "Hey, I'm here, and I'm here to
Yeah.
help you, not just to sell
Mm.
to you." So this shifts that dynamic from transactional to relational. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the science behind it. Then by offering something of genuine value for free, you're actually demonstrating your expertise as well as building goodwill. And this is the first step in building trust, Simone, which is, essential for any successful long-term customer relationship, right? You
Yeah.
know, the other thing is a well-crafted lead magnet and a funnel, and a nurturing campaign, not only draws people in, but it also acts as a filter. So what it does is it attracts, the type of audience that is genuinely interested in what you have to offer, and
Mm.
it'll help deselect those that aren't, right? So this makes future marketing efforts way more focused and effective. It's also an opt-in, okay? So I used to run outbound call centers. I have, you know, done a lot of that. There are a lot of laws around outbound lead generation, right? So there's cooling
Mm.
off periods and a whole bunch of stuff. This is a full-blown opt-in. That means someone is opting in. That means you can send them as many emails as you possibly want. You can call them if they've given them their phone number, and it's not against the law because that person has opted in to receive your lead magnet and every bit of correspondence that goes with it. People are giving you permission to engage with them further. So this opens that door, Simone, for that more personalized and impactful marketing communication. For example, we call that, sell by direct messaging,
Mm.
where once someone comes through our channels, we get them straight into a conversation, either with me, with you, with one of the members of the team, and we want to find out about them. Like, hey, tell me more about your business. Tell me more about you. Tell me where you're struggling. Tell me, we've got a whole database of, the monumental shit that people have to deal with every single day in their lives and in their business. And, it's a lot, right? And people are
Yeah.
different. So it gives you a whole bunch of intel that you wouldn't otherwise get. Um, Lead magnets are also great opportunities to educate and inform. Probably something we do too much. In the past, we used to just go, hey, here, let me give you all my IP. You don't have to buy from me. Hint, hint, go watch my first podcast and you'll be able to watch 39 episodes of just pure joy.
Yeah.
People paid me bucket loads of money for that information. And I just went out and gave it for free. It so happens that that's the next book. But, I've been saying that for about 3 years. I really should just finish writing that book, seeing I've got another one that I'm writing at the same time.
Mm.
So, but it acts as a way to educate. And, my first podcast, I think generated something like $350,000 worth of advisory work in the first
Mm.
year. So
Yeah.
even though we were giving shit away for free,
Yeah.
um, it actually got people to go, we really like this guy. He's crazy. And we think that a little crazy in our life could be good. So, and it's funny how I light up the moment I decide to tell the world that I'm crazy. I totally get it. If you haven't quite worked it out, this is called the Business Growth Mindset Crazy Podcast. So look, and then I think finally, lead magnets allows you to position yourself and differentiate yourself in a crowded market, right? So don't go out there and be a bad poet, as T.S. Eliot says. Don't imitate, steal, right? Steal and make it better, right? Like that's what a true entrepreneur does. Okay.
Mm.
So offering value up front through a lead magnet is a very powerful way, Simone, to initiate relationships on the right foot, right?
Yeah.
Signaling that you're not just after a quick sale. I often use the analogy of dating, right? And from a male's perspective, obviously, because I'm male. I recognize myself as a he, and so you go out and I don't know what this is like. It's been a long time, but in the old days when my friends used to say, "Hey, Christian, you really should write a book, how to double your dating," and I'm like, "You guys are such assholes," and a lot of it was. Yes, I was always quite gifted in conversation. Like I've never been one to be shy. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I was never the prettiest person in the room, but I certainly could talk more. And so I would basically just walk up to people and I'd make a first impression.
Mm.
Sometimes it was not good, right? But sometimes and this is what marketing is. I'd walk up, just the way I met my wife, and that's the coolest story ever. Like, the woman of my dreams and my entire life, my world. And I walked into a bar and walked down the stairs. It was in the basement bar, and I'd been out at Old Scholars Dinner, and I was in a black tie, dishevelled tie had been undone, and I just saw the most amazing woman ever. Like it just, and Lucy, she's with heels on,
Mm.
she's 6'3", so and I'm 6'4", so I was just like, and I could see the whole dance floor, and I could see this gazelle, and I was just like, I'm going to have that's that. She caught my attention, but I had to get this woman's interest, otherwise it was going to go nowhere. And I'm glad I did, because now we have two beautiful children and a lap dog called Louis, French bulldog, right? Who's more demanding than any of our other children.
Yeah, where's Louis going when you're in Europe for
He's
nearly a
going with
month?
my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to cope for 3.5 weeks. He misses me after 3 days, so this is going to be interesting. And he gets really pissed off if we FaceTime him, because he's like, I can see you, but you're not here to give me pats. But anyway, I walked up to Lucy and I said, hey, want tequila? And she was just like, sure. And I was like, right. And I was like, what do I do next? Go to the bar. Right. And I'm thinking in my head, if I go to the bar and she doesn't come with me, right? This is the whole way marketing works. The chances are she could have just said that, basically, instead of being, Lucy's a very polite person. At least she was polite before we got married. Now she has no problems telling me what her opinion is, which kind of hurts my feelings sometimes, but it does make me a better person. But ultimately, what I guess the point I'm making is, I was like, hey, why don't you come with me? And I just put my hand out. Like, that was it. It wasn't like I forced my hand. I just put my hand out. She grabbed it.
Mm.
And that's what a lead magnet does. It's
Yeah.
got to be compelling enough, striking enough to get something. So in this case, she got my attention, but the whole idea is I was doing the selling, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'd never gone up to her, I would have just been another person. Now, the truth is, she said to me, no, I actually saw you when you walked in, and, you looked really good in your tuxedo. But what I noticed was your disheveled tie. And interestingly enough, Lucy's a fashion stylist and a former model. So it was irritating her that I had, one, she thought it was really cool that I had a proper bow tie that you tie, right? But
Not just the clip-on ones.
No. So I guess these are all the things. I mean, I love this story, and I probably should write a case study on how it fits into marketing, because it's really relatable. Like, even while I'm talking to you about it, and I'm sick, so thinking can be quite difficult. I can see how it all plays out like a lead magnet. So you've got to just don't get too concerned about the terms, right? Play it out. And if you're a terrible dater, then the chances are you're a terrible marketer, right? And a lot of the time it's confidence, right? Like, people have really low confidence. And don't get me wrong, I once upon a time had low confidence. I still have low confidence on certain things, but I know how to get myself into a high confidence environment, like, immediately in my mind. And that's one of the things that we do in our Customers on Demand program. We spend a fair bit of time getting future entrepreneurs, the people that are doing less than $10,000 a month, to that $10,000 mark. And that's because it's a passion of mine. And a lot of that is low confidence in your sales process, because you don't have a system. And it's also low competence as well in sales, but realistically, because no one tells you how to go out and get sales. But also, the biggest challenge a lot of people have is they got low confidence in their product and their offer. One, because they've never been taught how to create offers, like, hey, would you like a tequila? What a dumb pickup line. But it worked, right? But it was the next motion, being able to stick your hand out to go, hey, come with me, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, yeah, sure, bang. And that's how our relationship actually got officially started. That happened a year later. So this is what I'm talking about, the nurturing sequence that goes on. Actually, I should ask my wife permission if I can actually do a full-blown training on this. Because no, it's even the things that we both did in between all that to nurture this, where we ended up, right? And so I think these are all the steps that are really important. Marketing isn't as simple as people think, but it's actually a lot simpler than it is, right? And so that then brings you to leads, right? Like, one of the biggest things that we invest a lot of time is to show people how to actually build lead magnets, how to build an irresistible offer, how to get people to raise their hand, right, and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested, right? And then what do you do next? What's the offer that you send out? What's the tell me more concept? To then finally you get there and it's like, hey, let's take action,
Yeah,
And so, and it's funny, I light up, don't I? I light up when I talk
you
about what
do.
we do. No matter how sick I am, because I truly love it. And
Mm-hmm.
if by the way, any of our listeners listening, if you're not in the Business Growth Secrets Facebook group, can we get one of the team to drop the link
Yeah.
in this? You really need to join the group. There is a mega training that we've just dropped, that Bonnie dropped last
Yes.
night, that
Yesterday.
I
Yeah, last
recorded,
night.
um, on exactly what I've just been talking about. And if you jump into the group, you'll also get access to our content creation course, which is 10 modules. These are just in there. These are free. Right now, what
Mm.
you're probably thinking is, yeah, nice one, Christian. This is a great lead magnet. Of course, it's a fucking lead magnet, right? But I'm trying to demonstrate how it's done. That's one of the coolest things that I love about what I get to do every single day, working with our $0 to $10,000 customers. And really what I love doing is the 10 to 30, and then obviously my skill set, my jam is $1 million plus. But I love going back, right, in time and going, what was it like for me? Where were my struggles? And the hardest part for me is those initial struggles around leads and attracting the right customers to me. It wasn't that hard because I was niched. I was a celebrity chef. I was a restaurateur, celebrity restaurateur who, but I didn't get there by clicking my fingers. I actually worked hard. But
Mm.
I got people to love me because the food and the service and all of those things that we did. And you then get a couple of sporting teams under your belt. You get celebrities like Kanye West, and all those guys. You just eat in our restaurants. Danny Minogue, Kylie Minogue. You know, the restaurants that I used to own were those kind of places. But that is lead generation. It's not like
Mm.
we never leaked the information. Their publicists went out and said, hey, Condoleezza Rice, was we had to shut down the whole restaurant. We had like 40 Secret Service people making out they were sitting on tables because they were meeting the Prime Minister. I mean, they're the shit that I could write a fucking memoir on the people we looked after and the amount of celebrities we turned down. When we had
Mm.
XO, people would ring me up saying, "Oh, you open? No, mate, closed." Right? Oh, well, this person wants to come and eat there. Mate, I can't. It's being able to say no as well. I mean, Delta Goodrum's favourite restaurant in Adelaide when she was young was, Citrus, which is a restaurant that I owned. And,
Mm.
she used to come in all the time, when she was in town,
Yeah.
because her brother played for Westies. And how small of the world is his wife, Carly, used to work for me in my marketing department in our energy company. So, the world is a small place, but, and oh my God, I can't believe I just went on that tangent. I haven't even thought of these things for years, but a long time. And what blows my mind is that even though it was different because there wasn't social media,
Mm.
I mean, imagine if there was social media, I would have been unstoppable, right? And so this is what people don't understand. You have this entire platform right now that could absolutely elevate you, but because you don't understand the fucking basics, right?
Mm.
And this is the shit that I get annoyed about with people. And that's why I love working with older people, because people that are in late 30s and 40s and 50s, they kind of get it. They're like, oh, yeah, I remember when there was no social media.
Yeah.
Whereas you get these 20-year-old smartasses that come to us, and it's like, mate, you think you know everything. Go write another reel,
Mm.
champ. You know what I mean? Like, you might be able to get to 100 grand, but you're not going to get to 5-10 million. Because you don't understand that you need to provide service. You need to provide. There's so many, and by the way, the things that you do to get to 10 grand a month are not that dissimilar to things that are going to get you to 30. But the things
Mm.
to get from 30 to 50 are different. Once you hit a million, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
And don't look at the 2%, right? All the smart asses that always go, but look at these guys. They're 2%, mate. Right? Like
Mm.
that's the total minority, champ. I'm not going to even go there, right? And that's because a lot of their ducks aligned, and they've got a lot of sometimes it's such a unique, like Canva. Canva is such a unique anomaly. It is totally right. Like it solved a massive problem, and I think, wow, you guys did freaking amazing. right? Like totally, Cold Tramp. There's heaps of other really amazing technologies that have come out of Australia, and they're billion-dollar businesses. But do you know how many failed and never will get there because they don't fit for purpose? So again, the lead magnet has to be fit for purpose and has to solve a massive problem for your audience. Simone Lord, that's
Yes. I'm going to wrap.
Have you got anything else?
I feel like we just uncovered a whole, every time we have these conversations, I find out something new about you that I didn't know before. So I'm excited to be a part of this journey and then unpack the stories a little bit later and use them to uncover more and understand more about the journey of Christian Lowelsi, which is always a pleasure to learn about. So Christian, we are going to be pre-recording a couple of episodes of the Hot Seat because
Are we?
time zones are
Can
not
we
in
not?
our favor.
No. I think we shouldn't.
All
I
right.
thought about this. I saw your invitation for my only gap on Friday, right? And I'm just like, far out.
She snuck in some of
But
the time.
I was looking at my diary, and I reckon we might be able to pull it off because my 6 a.m. over there, if we do it early, right? And I mean, couldn't it be cool? Like if I can bring a rig and set up a mic, and I can get Lucy to hold the camera while I'm at the Eiffel Tower and be like, "Hey, you guys!"
All right.
I mean,
We'll talk about this off air.
No, but you know what it is. No, look, let's involve our audience, right? Like, if you really want me to be doing it live, right? Because me live is a little bit more crazy, right? And
It
if you want
is,
to do it
yeah.
live, and you want to see, you'll get to if we do it, we'll get to do Dublin, London, and France. I mean, that could be epic. But it's like my coach says to me, you got to show up because that's what makes you and me and a handful of awesome people really unique. We turn up. It doesn't matter if we're sick, right? We show up. I mean, the worst thing is I'm looking in the camera and I don't look sick, but I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it's always been this incredible skill of mine, naturally beautiful and charming when I'm dead sick inside. So I could never bullshit my way into getting a sickie. It was like, no, you got to go. It's like, I'm dying, man. And everyone always says, oh, Christian, you got the freaking man flu. No, I got COVID, mate. Right? Like someone said that to me. The only time I ever got COVID, they go, oh, you got the man flu. I'm like, yeah, look at this. That's COVID for you. I mean, it only lasted a day. But the point is, look, I think if we can do it wherever we are, then I think we should try.
All right.
And if we fail, we can just stream on one. I mean, we're streaming here. We've had more viewers on one platform than when we try and stream to 4 or 5. So anyway, we got Mastermind
interesting
shortly.
We do.
I need to probably save my voice a bit. But I love it. This shit fills my cup. I've been doing paperwork all morning. It's like, reading board papers, and no offense to my clients, boards I sit on, but it's just I'm looking over here. I've got a pile like that big, and I've gotten through it. I've been doing spreadsheets and all the fun things that get you to $50 million. But it's the little things that I like doing. It's like helping out the little people get to their getting to 10 grand is like the game changer. Honestly, if you're there listening and you are not at 10 grand a month and you're stuck at 2, 3, call Belinda Paris, right? Call Amanda McNeil, call Marianne, right? Like Vasula, call Karim Bokta. Like I could sit here and list out all of our amazing clients who all started in our COD program. Now they're in Evolve. Some of them are going into the $1 Million Club in 18 months.
Yeah.
Like that's what keeps me fucking pumping. That's the journey you're talking about, right? And what sucks the most is people probably have gotten off this and they're not listening because it's like, oh my God, he's ranting again. You got to listen to the rants, right? The rants inevitably have success and failure stories in them, right? And it's also, I try and be as entertaining as possible. But look, Simone Lord, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take some more Panadol now and get ready for the mastermind at 12.
Next mastermind call.
Is it 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock? Yeah.
1 o'clock for you, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I've got another call.
Christian Lowelsi, thank you for your time. We will be working on a schedule to bring these hot seats to you live while you're across Europe then. We will discuss that this afternoon. Thank you to all our listeners and our viewers, and we'll be sure to see you very, very soon. Christian Lowelsi, have an awesome day.
Working with Christian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Christian in August 2020, as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Christian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Christian Lavolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Christian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Christian.